I hope we did, and all of these files are available on the city's website. And thanks again for coming tonight.
Just a couple of comments, then questions for Dave. I would note too that the possibility of a parking facility meets two of the objectives identified by Yarden Company as something the city should pursue immediately through the next 36 months. And two of those were parking management and providing access for overflow parking. So certainly the parking facility as described by Dave and his research satisfies two of those objectives. So a couple questions quickly for Dave. You had mentioned the third possibility of a third floor in the parking garage. Could you explain for the audience from a topography perspective, if it did go that high, where would it tower over the city? Would it be? Could you explain that?
You know, and I had those notes right here. So, I'm in speed mode. So the highest point of the garage would be 27 feet at its highest point. A typical single-family home is between 20 and 25 feet tall. Because we're already getting public input, and I hope that's because we've been putting things on the internet for people to see. One of the comments was, why would you go 3 stories? Why would you just not go 2 stories and go over the top of the surface area? You would reduce the visibility to adjoining properties. I mean, it's really, quite frankly, a pretty darn good question because I really don't know. But I guess I was so focused on creating a lane that you could go through and utilize the ability for your turn into State Route 48 into a structure that is now only 2 stories tall and is the same access point off of First Street is completely and totally feasible. But at some point I just had to come up with a basic design. But 2 stories is typically 11 and a half feet. So you would obviously be lesser of a height and lesser of an impact on the adjacent residential units. But it makes sense. I mean, I don't know that we're trying to create, our goal is not to create, you're driving down State Route 48 in the morning and you come from Butterworth or Brandywine and you go, oh damn, the gates are down. Oops, I'm going to go flying through downtown Loveland and zip around it. That was never the desire. I can tell you, anyone I talked to, including Chief Ray, that was not what we were trying to do. That was not the goal, to create some big crazy fly-through town. That's not it. We wanted to create an access point. So that access point could be directly into a 2-story, which I believe the end result would be more spaces.
Okay. So, thank you. And let me just say from a personal perspective, I know it's a lot of money, but we need to view this this city has seized momentum. I think we can all agree with that, with our entertainment, with our retail, with our historic downtown area. That momentum is valuable and it's important, but it's precious too, and it goes away quickly. And in a very practical way, if people who are visiting the city come into the city and say, you can't find a parking space there. Let's go to Milford, let's go to Marymount, let's go to wherever. So it's not the sexiest thing in terms of a capital development project, I understand that, but it's also a very practical investment in the future of downtown and also provides a fulcrum for the opportunity to expand the historic downtown district north and east. So I applaud the work you've done, Dave. Thanks for your research, and just want to lead on that point.
All right, unless there's other questions, we do have people that want to speak in. All right, stop.
And it relates back to something that Dave covered. So, in the geotechnical report recommendations, there's something in here that I don't understand why it's in here, because we're talking about a parking facility, we're talking about access, right? And it's on page 5. It talks about foundation discussion and recommendations. And I'll read you the sentence. And it talks about the structural loads and the footings and stuff. And it says, exact site use has not been determined at the time of this report, but we expect the lot to be developed with up to 4 stories of commercial and residential structures. So I don't know why it's in this report.
It should be there. we hired them, they were pretty clear what our intentions were to do. And as you can see from the plans, every plan was for apartment
Right,
facility.
that's why I'm asking.
Still, the city being involved in a private development, I don't know why Dustin wrote that in there. The goal has always been to utilize this for parking. That was always my goal, so I'm not going to go. I caught that, I did not change that wording. I don't think that's right. The document was already a public record, so I don't know where that came from.
I just wanted clarification.
Mr. Ori?
Dave mentioned the height of the parking structure. Just to clarify something, or just to let you know, the parking lot out here and Route 48 are the same level, okay? So we're not going to be building up here, we're going to be building down, okay? So it won't stick way up.
It has a very unique component in that when you stand at this property at First Street, it's exactly 588 feet elevation. And ironically, or just the way it is, when you stand at this property where it hits State Route 48, it is 588 feet, virtually identical. And what that creates is the ability to really accentuate the access point of this property. And when I put those people on there, I really mean that, because you see the flow, both pedestrian and traffic, coming out of this, what would then be a leveled piece of property, no different than being on the Loveland Station by the Brownstones versus being on Loveland Station across from Loveland Stage. It's that equal elevation. That's an important thing. And I know that when I first sent Randy Merrill from McGill Smith the drawings of what we were looking at on that aerial, that was his first comment to Tom and I was, do you realize the elevations are identical? That really makes this a good situation. So yes, that is, I just jumped through a minute.
All right,
Just
Mr. Miller?
one, if I'm standing in the parking lot of the works, what am I going to see if I look?
So if you're standing in the parking lot of the works, the top of the rail car, and I didn't want to go out and measure it, but the top of the rail car is already elevated.
Right?
So I don't know the total elevation, and I guess I could have figured out a way to measure it, but it would be different, because you'd wonder, why did you stand there and measure it? Why did you stand over here and measure it? So at 588 feet, which is a pretty consistent elevation of First Street, it's 588 all the way across. Take the height of the rail car. The highest point in option 1 would be near the rail car, and it would be 27 feet. So I don't know the exact height of the rail car when you add additionally how it sits on top of the property. But yes, you would see the garage. But no, nothing was told. Is it going to have a brick veneer? Is it going to have what kind of veneer it would have? That option 1, that structure would be right there. And I will add that part of our due diligence and what we've done is what you'll see tonight with the second reading of the legislation with the lease on the rail car. When we did all of this pictures and we were diving into this on a daily basis, we realized we had deed issues, we had easement issues that had to be addressed. And luckily we had a good person that was more than willing to work with us. But part of that was cleaning up. Because when you stand at the longest point of the Ross parcels before it flares off to the edge of the gravel lot, it's exactly 105 feet. That's 105 feet of road frontage that we have with our gravel lot and the Ross parcels from all the way along State Route 48. You can do a lot with 105 feet. A standard driveway entrance into a commercial development is 40 feet. So we do a lot with 100 feet. So that's a big deal. But we need to clean up our issue with Scott. So, which was just something that never got finalized. And that tonight, ironically, is on for the second reading. So.
Now we're cooking with gas. Here we are.